Namaste, welcome to Healthy You. On today's episode, we are with a special guest, Christopher Zampogna, and he's going to be making Italian-inspired vegan dishes. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Chris to the show. Chris, namaste. So this is our tradition here. We do even though it's going to be Italian-inspired cuisine, namaste.
Thank you, Valerie, and thank you for having me on the show today.
I know. I'm so excited to have you here. First of all, I want everyone to know, what is it that you do? Because you are not a full-time chef, correct?
No. I am a lawyer by day. I have started to cook more or less to relieve the stress of the practice of law during the day, and I enjoy cooking. And then I found vegan cuisine to be something that really helps you in relieving the stress.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get to that as we actually start to cook.
Right.
You brought other things that relieve stress. Wine. So
Yes.
we've got some wine and our Italian-inspired dishes. And so this basically started as a hobby for you, cooking?
Yes, yeah. Well, I do have a blog, too, that I talk about cooking and legal concepts. So.
Wait, say that again. Cooking and legal concepts.
Right. I call it the legal gourmet.
So are you going to give us, are we just going to, learn about law and Italian-inspired cuisine?
I'm going to try.
All right. Is there going to be a test at the end?
Yeah, well.
Not if we drink too much wine. Okay, so you mentioned the fact that you have decided to go vegan once a week.
Right?
Right?
Yes, I have done that. I started to lose the taste of meat all the time a little while ago, and I found it's a great way to make me feel healthier, actually.
Okay, so this is good. So your own experience, you're feeling better, you're feeling healthier, and you're inspired. So it's a perfect time to let our audience know what are we going to be making today.
Yeah, well, the first dish, as we said, it's Italian-inspired, so it's a Calabrian curry, or curry calabrese.
I know. Curry calabrese, right? Curry calabrese, yeah. And the main ingredient is the...
Squash, butternut squash.
Butternut squash. So is that where we start? I think that we should first start with a cheers, a toast.
All
right, cheers.
Cheers.
So this is how we're going to start, with a little sip of wine, an Italian house wine that you brought.
Yes, that's an Italian house wine.
It's a vegan wine. I just want to let our viewers know that when you're buying wine, you can check, depending on how the wine is made, there can be some animal byproducts in them. So, just check, and you're good to go.
We're good to go.
We're good to go. So
cheers,
here we go. Cheers, first sip. Don't drink too much because we have to.
Everything is better from here. No.
Yes. All right. So come on, let's get started.
So
and I'm going to ask you lots of questions as you start to cook.
So I've pre-cut some of the squash, but before we even put the squash in, you want to have a good bowl that would be, cooked for cooking.
A bowl, or would you more like a pot?
A pot, yeah,
okay.
Yeah, a good pot that you could cook things like this. So you would add the paste. There's a curry paste that I have, which you can purchase or you can make, but you want to be careful, right, when you buy the curry paste to make sure it's vegan paste, that there's not any animal byproducts in the paste.
Yeah, because a lot of times there'll be especially if it's this was like a Thai type of
Thai
curry paste. Just be aware that there may be fish occasionally as one of the ingredients, so if you're going to be buying that.
Yeah, and there's oil. You can use canola oil. I've used Italian olive oil
of course,
to keep it Italian.
Right?
So you obviously can pour that in first.
Now, should I turn up the heat?
Turn the heat up, yes.
All right. So my question is, if this is curry alla calabrese, I'm really trying here with the accent.
She's trying to give it all the Italian she has.
What region of Italy is this?
It's from southern Italy. Calabria is the southern part of Italy. They call it the toe of the boot of the country. And what's interesting to note, too, is one of the, traditions, or they call people from that region to be stubborn. So I don't know if you wanted me to to say the word they call it is to be when you're testadura.
Testa
hard.
meaning head.
Yeah, and dura meaning
hard-headed.
hard. So with this dish, we didn't call it that, but as you will note, if I show you how to cut this, butternut squash is really hard. So there is somewhat of a connection to that.
Hey, I like that. So testadura and the toughness of the squash,
butternut
perfect.
squash. Yeah.
So
now that we have that on, go
so
ahead.
our olive oil, and I'm going to run down the list of ingredients while you
Right.
start to put everything
Sure.
together. You used 1 butternut squash,
Right.
and that's been peeled and cut or cubed. And there's 2 tablespoons of olive oil that is starting to heat up.
Right.
And you have 1/3 of a cup of the red curry paste.
Yes.
And to make it simple, we already mentioned, buy that ahead of time, pre-made. Now, what comes up next? Do we let this
We give
start
it
to
about
heat?
a minute. Yeah.
So
you-
is this
you
a good
minute-
time to drink again?
Sure, let's
Well,
have
yeah,
another.
I mean,
Why not?
right?
I think there's always
All right,
never a bad time.
So tell us, give
you're
us a
cooking.
legal fact that
Sure.
that maybe would make sense, or how could we?
Well, I mean, I think generally speaking, as I said earlier on, I wasn't a vegan at all until recently, as far as one day a week, and I think it helps, even as a lawyer, to see the perspective of someone else. So, like a vegan, someone who eats vegan food, those that don't, it's a good thing to taste at least once a week.
So you start to think like, all right, well, why are they doing? Why?
Why do people do this? Yeah, why are they vegan? So much like in a case, you're trying to learn the other side, so you need to know what is the other side of the opposition thinking, in a case. So that's how I would tie it in.
And I know that you also mentioned in one of your write-ups as we were preparing for the show that you've become more aware of obviously the health benefits of a plant-based, whole foods plant-based diet, the environmental benefits, right?
Right.
And obviously the compassion for the animals. So those are all great things.
Right.
So should I think of this like putting together of ingredients as like a case? Are we building a case here to be healthier?
I've said this on my blog, and I'm trying to talk and cook at the same time, so we don't
Can I
overcook
stir?
stuff. Yeah, we're coming towards that minute. But much like practicing law, there's a certain art to it. So I think when you make your meal, add what you like a little bit to it too. So speaking of that, let's pour some of we'll put this in next.
All right, let me help. All
There
right.
we go.
It already smells so good. To me, just the smell of olive oil and, these spices.
Yeah.
So should I be stirring?
Yeah, stirring.
All right.
The more you stir, it can't hurt to stir.
All right.
And you would be cutting this ahead of time, and as I said, but this is a hard
Testadura.
testadura. So you can cut it, and many people have learned that it's not. But usually
wanna
chop the
cut-
2 ends first, and then you cut it maybe down the middle, and then you pull out the seeds, which you can cook later too if you wish. But I'm
Here's
not
a
gonna
good
go through
tip,
that
right?
whole
Like
pot.
drink after cutting
Probably, yeah.
the hard-headed squash.
Yeah, it's always good to have the drink not while you're with a very sharp object in your hand.
Right, because that's
Probably.
where all sorts of legal problems could arise,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
So we.
How am I doing? Am I doing a good job here?
You're good. We can put some of the water in there. We're
How
gonna
much water are we
It's
adding?
a 1/3 cup of water, or 3/4 cup of water.
3/4
cup. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
We can add that in there to keep
Okay.
it
What about
going.
this temperature? So we have it on is it like a medium, we said?
Yeah,
Medium
you start
heat?
a little high, then you can turn it down. It's going to be. We're going to add cilantro too, which I will cut. 'Cause
Cilantro or
sorry.
we could
Yep.
do Italian parsley, right?
Italian parsley is probably better for this, actually. So we're going with Italian parsley, and that's also a 1/3 cup of that. So.
But you could substitute, like you were saying, to be creative, or depending what ingredients you happen to have, at home,
Yes.
some kind of, parsley.
Right, right. So,
parsley, cilantro, something like that.
so you can add your own, and like I said, I think much like practicing, you know, it isn't a science. So that's why I actually like to cook too, because it's kind of your own.
So you don't have to chop this particularly, you know, finely.
No. It'll
Because I
actually
noticed that
cook.
you're leaving on a lot of the stems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this really is a very, very simple.
Right.
I mean, other than the hard-headed.
The hard-headed part, yeah, we
Little
want to add some of the
squash
coconut. There we go, that in there, and then we're gonna have to add the chickpeas.
And
Always love that.
So this would also be very typical of an Italian, southern Italian dish, chickpeas.
Yeah, chickpeas are yeah. There is some soups made of that, so yeah, that does fit in the tradition a little bit as well.
Because how much of the chickpeas did you put in?
1 can about. You can get a can of it. You can
Okay.
look. I think most chickpeas are
About a
good
can.
for vegan cooking, so I don't
Yeah.
get to check too closely, but
Yeah, a can of chickpeas. And what about the? I'm sorry, you were pouring in the.
Italian parsley. we
No,
added.
the coconut milk.
And then coconut milk gets added in there too. And
That
we're
was a
gonna-
can or less than a can?
That was a little
Less.
less. Yeah, a little less than a can.
And that's what's going to give it like a nice creamy consistency.
Right.
Should-
And
okay.
this is the more of the Calabrian part, which is a certain spice we have that we add in there. So we'll add that in there too to add to the curry taste.
Now, is your family? Were you inspired to create this dish because your family is from south part of Italy, or what's the connection here? What's the inspiration?
Yeah, I think the name certainly and my background would fit in that. So that definitely was something that came up when I've been there twice, so I thought this would be a neat way to connect with where I'm from, where my grandfather is from, and add something different to their diet. So
That's wonderful.
yep,
And of course, you know.
we have salt too that I have to add in here too. Sorry, I got the salt.
Yeah, go ahead. How much salt? Is that like a
that's-
coarse salt?
Yeah, this is a kosher salt. They ask that you use kosher salt for this, so we put that in there, even though that's not Italian, but you know, it's a coarser salt. You're right. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. So how am I
that's
doing? Am I
Good.
doing
We're gonna
good
have
here?
to sit. We're gonna
Do
have to let it
I
sit
think,
for a while.
Do you want to
actually.
take over?
Yeah, we can take over. This is gonna have to sit and
Should I
simmer for
put turn the heat up?
a little bit, but
Okay.
not much.
All right. Now I think it's time for some more wine.
Okay.
Do you cook for your clients?
Some of them, yeah, I have. Not all of them, but
What about your
the good clients.
The good client. What about your colleagues? So I think of like I don't know, law and lawyers being very traditional and perhaps how what they're ordering. So how are people reacting to your one-day vegan style?
I think they're intrigued. Lawyers, well, most are curious. So, and I think as a profession, though, it's stressful. So they want to hear something that's going to keep them healthy
Right.
for a while. So the vegan food is something that does that.
Yeah, so you're piquing their interest because of the health factor and the benefits, which of course when you're that stressed, you
need that.
You need it. So we're coming to the end or very near the end of completing our first dish, our
Right.
Italian-inspired vegan curry calabrese. I think I was supposed to do this.
Yeah,
no?
I think that's better.
Yeah.
That's good. You got to speak with your hands in it.
I got to speak with my hands. Are we going to let this simmer?
Yeah, we would let it simmer. Turn it down
Because
a
what do you
little.
have up for us next?
Yeah, next we're going to have a stir fry with eggplant, Italian-inspired stir fry with also one of my other favorite vegetables, broccoli. And a little bit of pasta at the end too for that. So.
Because it wouldn't be an Italian-inspired, right, meal if it didn't have pasta.
Of course not. Yes.
All right. And of course, for people who are looking for gluten-free alternatives, there are all sorts of gluten-free
pastas,
pasta and certainly vegan ones where no egg or other like products are added that are not plant-based. Okay, should I put the lid on this?
Yeah, put the lid on it and turn it down a little
Put
more.
the lid on it, and then cheers again, because we are gonna get what? Ready to do
the dish number 2.
Dish number 2, the eggplant, coming up next. Cheers.
Cheers.
We are about to make our second recipe on today's episode of Healthy You with Christopher Zampogna. He's teaching us about vegan Italian-inspired cuisine, which started as a hobby and now is like a big
It's kind of a regular part of my
right, with your
repertoire.
Your repertoire, because of your busy. We were just talking about busy schedules, busy lifestyle, and how simple the first recipe was to make. So what are we going to do now?
Yeah, on that same theme, as Valerie said, it's a simple dish with eggplant, which is very much an Italian vegetable. I mean, it isn't literally Italian, but it's used a lot in Italian
It's a very
dishes.
popular vegetable in Italian cuisine.
Yes, yeah, and of course there's going to be some other favorites in Italy. We have some of our garlic, of course, in there.
Garlic, yeah.
And we will have some broccoli.
Okay, so you could add some greens.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
today we're going to focus on the eggplant.
Right.
Okay.
We have the eggplant. There is broccoli that we add too, but I'll not that this is difficult to do, but you start off with a full eggplant, and you obviously cut the eggplant. We'll slice it simply.
Slice it and dice it, but you have to peel it too. So as you slice and dice, I'll go through the list of ingredients. We have 1 eggplant, 2 tablespoons of olive oil?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
The broccoli you mentioned, which I think we have in the finished version.
Right.
But you could just work with the eggplant. Definitely the garlic wouldn't be an Italian-inspired dish without it. What else? We have the Italian parsley, some spice. So we're back to the spice factor. Cayenne pepper and is it paprika that we're going to be adding?
Yes.
With a little bit of water. And this will serve about 4. Right?
Yes.
Dish for about 4 people. A very hearty dish. We even have pasta that we're, like a bed of pasta that we're going to ultimately put it on.
At the end,
yeah.
yes.
All right. Sounds great.
So,
Sounds great.
After you'd slice up the, or dice the
So you're leaving
eggplant.
the skin?
Yeah, I actually leave it on, to be honest.
Fabulous.
Yeah,
okay.
I left it on
Even
there.
easier.
Yeah, so first we want to have this heated.
Should I turn the heat up?
I think we're good. I think we're on.
We're on. All
I
right.
think we're on. Put some of the olive oil in there to get it heated.
Gotcha.
And again, this isn't going to take you too long. I mean, it doesn't take long.
Because how many hours a week are you working? Come on, tell us now.
Yeah, well, I work probably 80 hours a week. Not to scare anyone away from the law, but it's a lot of practice all the time.
But it's the reality of a very hectic schedule, and how do you maintain eating healthy and actually be inspired to make these fabulous dishes,
Right.
if they get too complicated.
So you can pick more complicated things, but what I tried to do today is have very simple dishes, and after it heats, then you add in your vegetables. So we'll add in our vegetables to start. It's really, this one's actually pretty quick because it's a stir fry, so
Now, is
probably
that a
turn
little
it down
high?
a little bit. Yeah, but we would.
Let me a little piece of the garlic
came in there.
skin.
And I do have the other vegetable that we don't want to put in the refrigerator, but we'll leave it there, which is fine. And of course, we always can have a drink while we're doing this. So
Of course, because
in
this
between
is,
we can have
part of our whole
Italian
thing.
red,
Now,
so.
this is what you're doing at home, drinking your healthy,
Generally speaking.
red wine and
Right.
and chopping and dicing vegetables.
Right. So yeah, and then just 2 garlic cloves, pretty easy to break and then chop into small minced pieces. And the beauty of this dish too is it's even faster than the last one. So
Which was pretty fast.
which was pretty quick.
In fact, I'm just going to take a peek. It smells fantastic. It looks delicious. Right?
Yeah, this will take maybe.
Can I stir? Can I do something?
Yeah. Keep it. If we're cooking out that, we would stir that and we would put in.
Do we need a little more oil, or are we good?
Yeah, no, you don't really. It's.
Doesn't need too much.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's not a big oil base. We would add a little water in there. We.
Could we add tomatoes, like if we wanted more of a tomato base?
Yeah, I think the nice thing about cooking, as we all know, cooking, is that it is something that is very much your own creativity.
And there's like an intuitiveness as well.
Yeah, so you can creatively cook things. You can add different ingredients as you go.
Smells great.
So,
and we've got the garlic in here, right?
So yeah, we have paprika to add as well.
And I've already mentioned all of the ingredients.
The ingredients were mentioned. We would add them in as well. We also
I just want to make sure that the paprika gets really...
You can turn it down probably a little now.
A little lower on the heat.
Yeah.
So very simple ingredients.
Some salt as well.
That's the coarse salt that we used in the first recipe.
Some of the coarse salt, right, exactly.
And then just coating everything. How am I doing?
Good, good.
All right.
She's an expert. That's why I'm just a guest.
No, hardly. I just learned from all of our fabulous guests. And,
Right.
I can taste the paprika and its spice factor from here. So the first dish was more of a southern Italian dish. Is this also more inspired from southern Italy, or because we're playing with the spice factor?
Yeah, anything hotter. Southern Italy is a little more hotter in its cuisine. It has less creams too. So, you know, the fact that these spices are in there, making it a little hotter to taste, is more important for that part of the country. And eggplant is a staple down there as well.
Yeah. And I feel like for people, and perhaps you can speak about this, when they're transitioning or trying to alternate like what they normally would eat, right? So you're inspired to have this one vegan day, maybe turns into 2, maybe 7.
She's trying.
I'm trying. I'm trying to be. I'm trying
Not
to.
there yet, but you know.
Like a good lawyer, I'm trying to convince
arguing.
you. Yes, I'm arguing. That's right. But you know, it just seems like the spice would be a great way to get people very excited about all those intense flavors and not feel like they're missing out. Because the last thing you would want to do is have something be very bland, right? If people are eating a more traditional meal, right? So, taste buds are going to get used to this.
So I think with the spices, if you're not used to this, if you think it's only a vegetable, it'll taste great. It tastes great. I got to tell you, I haven't missed the meat in it. So
that's fantastic.
She's
And
right.
speaking of which, eggplants have like mushrooms. They're one of those hearty vegetables that they really do fill you up. I mean, they are very hearty.
Yep. Exactly.
Very meaty, if I were to use that way to describe them. All right. What's next? Is that it?
Yeah, really.
So how long are we going to keep this on the heat for?
It would be about 10 minutes.
So total 10 minutes.
Total of 10 minutes after the initial braising of basically the eggplant and the broccoli.
Should I continue to stir like this so it doesn't?
Yeah, the stirring is never going to hurt, so that's your choice. But you can keep stirring the whole time, which is terrific. But you don't have to. And then you keep mixing it to get the flavors that come with it, and you'll see that there's kind of a nice, almost like a sauce that occurs.
Okay, so that sounds great. So just to recap real quick, butternut squash, eggplant, everything's cooking.
Pasta.
We've made some pasta al dente, which means what?
Yeah, it's firm, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
This is a great time for our public service announcement. Remember that more than 9,000 dogs and cats are killed here in the U.S. in shelters every day. So please help support the Best Friends Animal Society and their no-kill mission, because together we can save them all.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, pet them, care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture, you can jump, yell, you can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. 'Cause we're connected.
We're back on the set of Healthy You with our guest, Christopher Zampogna, who's made amazing Italian-inspired vegan dishes. In fact, we'll go over everything that we made. So Chris, it looks fabulous.
Thank you,
and
Valerie.
take us through this one more time before you have more wine.
Yes, yes. So
you can still remember.
We started off with the all Calabrian inspired, but a Calabrese curry is the first dish, which you can see is up to the right of me. It has butternut squash, which we said earlier has a little bit to do with a hard vegetable, meaning the testadura from the south. And the other dish has eggplant. It's a stir-fry eggplant with some broccoli and some other spices added to it as well. Very quick to make. So
that was the second version. So
yeah.
One version was just the eggplant,
Right.
and then we've got another version which shows you how inspired you can get in the kitchen.
Yes.
And just keep adding more and more vegetables or whatever you have, right? Whatever's fresh.
And it all tastes delicious.
And then what about the spaghetti?
Yeah, we added that, of course, to keep it Italian. So we had to have spaghetti. So you can get vegan spaghetti.
Vegan, so meaning no eggs. So you always want to check if your pasta has any kind of egg or dairy, which is unlikely,
Right.
but usually it's egg. And how did you cook it? What is the firmness called again?
Al dente.
Al dente. That's right. All right, and so we're ready to dig in, eat and drink and be merry. But first, if our viewers want to know more about you, where to find you, read your blog, where should they go?
Right, for the recipes, I'll have them posted on my blog, which is www.zampppc.blogspot.com. And I have a web page too for my law firm, which is my last name, zampognalaw.com, which I'll have a link to that as well. But the blog is definitely directly related to this.
So you are the vegan, 1 day a week vegan DC lawyer.
That's right.
We're going to get more of you.
Yeah, a little more, maybe 2 days a week. We'll
All right. So with that, if anyone wants to know about the Buddha Bee Yoga Center, of course you can find us online. You can look us up, our website, or go to the Facebook page or Twitter, and lots of great information. In fact, you practice yoga.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We didn't say that.
Yeah, I did at Valerie's tremendous studio, and really it helped me a lot. So in addition to this, I think it's a wonderful thing to add to your repertoire, lawyers or anybody else.
Yeah, for stress and health.
Exactly.
Awesome. And with that, here we go. Cheers again. It's been a very fun show.
Cent'anno.
All right, cent'anno, chin chin.
Chin chin. 100
Way,
years.
yes.
So.
All right, and we're gonna dig in. All right, I'm gonna put my napkin on, and this is it. It looks fabulous. Thank you so much, Chris, for being on the show. I'm very
Thank you for
inspired
inviting me.
with all these beautiful vegetables, and it's just amazing. Thank you for watching us on Healthy You, and we look forward to our next episode. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.